States of America. This is Political Analytical. I'm your host, Eddie Hill, along with Rick Warren and Gordon Park. Join us as we give our opinion concerning everything dealing with politics. We don't hold back, so prepare for a no-nonsense approach to the news, and no, we don't care about your feelings. Uncensored and no sugarcoating. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Political Analytical. I'm your host, Eddie Hill, along with our other hosts, Rick Warren and Gordon Park. Welcome, everybody.
What's going on, guys?
How's it going, Eddie?
It's going pretty dang good. You know, I don't know if you saw the heading and the topics for tonight's show, but yeah, we got a lot to discuss tonight. There's a lot going on, and the U.S. is spiraling out of control, fixing to sink into the deep blue ocean, for lack of better terms, or sucked into a black hole, whichever you prefer, that we're not going to be able to come out of because, our administration is pretty much hosing us. So we're going to be screwed here before long. But welcome, gentlemen. Let's talk and see what we got going on.
Let's do it.
All right, Rick, starting off with you. What do you got on your plate?
Well, I guess I got a burr underneath my damn blanket, Eddie, because we have a woman in Congress right now that is inciting, that is bringing out a no-holds-bar type of barroom fight on the streets with not only our National Guard. We just had 2 National Guard today get hurt by fire from the very people that they are protecting.
Oh, God, I just got a visual.
Waters.
That is the most full-faced, wrinkled-up, nasty-looking bitch you've ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah. It is something that she is doing, gentlemen, the very same thing that she said President Trump was doing. She is doing the very same thing that they impeached President Trump over. And not one word, gentlemen, not one word from the media, not one word from TV, not one word from radio, nothing. Nobody is there to sit there and say, wait a minute. We're starting something here in the middle of the United States called an insurrection with what you're talking about. She said that the left is supposed to get, if this guy on TV gets acquitted, she said on national TV, we must be more confrontational.
Did she really?
I'll leave it at that.
Well, you know what? I think we should be more confrontational with her. So if that's what she feels and that's what she's telling everybody to be like, if that's what happens, then I want everybody to be more confrontational with Maxine Waters when you see her. Because that's what she's wanting everybody to do with other people, us, people on the right, conservatives, Republicans. So fair is fair, don't you think, gentlemen?
Exactly.
Absolutely, fair is fair. I think if we're going to start burning people's livelihoods and down and burning people in the streets and creating more havoc and blood flow, I think we need to start in her neighborhood. I think we need to start with her house. If we're going to burn a business, let's start with her house. That's a business. I think if we're going to shed blood in the streets, let's start with the blood of her neighbors and her family. If we're going to say that it's okay, then let's make it okay across the board. Let's not just split hairs with left and right.
No, but here's the thing, though. It's okay as long as it's coming from them. Coming from the far left, coming from the Democrats. They can do no wrong. But yet, let a Republican say that, or somebody that's a conservative, the world will melt at that point. Everything will come to a screeching halt come to an end. Because why? It doesn't go with the far left. It doesn't go with their agenda. And this idiot news media, these dumbasses on CNN and all these other places, all these other news people are a bunch of morons. And all they have to do is sit around and talk shit, make stuff up, and put out fake news and protect the Democrats and the far left and Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all these other morons that are out there. All they have left to do is to protect them. Why? Because they have an agenda, my friends. They have an agenda in order to basically cancel out the United States, cancel out conservatives, cancel out the Republican Party, cancel out America as we know it and as we grew up. That's what they're doing.
Well, and here in Texas, we have a representative who is passing legislation to get a panel together to study if the people in Texas should have an added tax to pay for reparations.
For reparations?
For
Is that
reparations
what you
for
said?
slavery. At some point, we have to, and I've said this week in and week out, and week in and week out, and week in and week out. There's going to be a straw that breaks the camel's back. And I don't know when that's going to come. I just pray that it's soon enough. Because let's realistically take a look at what this country started out as. This country started out as a group of colonies who thumbed their nose at not a government, at a king. One of the most powerful forces at that time, in 1776, they thumbed their nose at a military government that was tyrannical, and they said no more, and they fought and died and bled, outnumbered 3-1, not just in Army, but in Navy as well. So let's flash forward to what we have now. If we had those same rules and those same thought processes and those same values today that those people had in 1776, we wouldn't be here. Shots would have been fired back in Obama era.
Exactly.
It would not
Agreed.
be here. We wouldn't be sitting here today talking about this because this government would have already been dismantled and reassembled properly. And I'm sick and tired of coming on the show week in and week out saying we have got to figure something out to make us stand apart and to do what we have to do to fix our country. Because what's coming next, we're not going to be able to fix. There's legislation now to stack the Supreme Court, which he said he wasn't going to do, to go from 9 to 13 justices. But he said he wasn't going to do that.
All along, Gordon. They were planning that all along. Even Camel Toe Hairy Ass was telling them, the news reporters way back when they were running, she couldn't comment on the fact of whether they were going to stack the Supreme Court or not because
they knew it.
Planning it. She knew it.
They all did. But yet, here we are still standing and doing nothing. Now we have our ignorant president who has got nuclear bombers flying right up to the border in a European country. China's got the largest navy ever massed. And now we're looking at possibly World War III, nuclear war, a nuclear world war. And the greatest beacon of freedom split in half. Tell me where I'm wrong.
You know, we've got Jean P. Smith on here. She just commented. And she said, who are the oath finders? White Lives Matter, KKK, Black Panthers, BLM. Someone's going behind good citizens and they're putting everyone against each other. I'm not playing their game. No one should play their game there, Gene. Nobody. And they are putting everybody against each other. Christopher John says, "Camel toe, hairy ass." Laugh my ass off. Love it. Yeah, and that I have to give credit where credit's due. That came from our other host, which didn't make it on here tonight, which was James Toops, our coon ass, by the way. And so I think he's getting ready to do an investigation on a paranormal hunt. So good luck to him while he's out there. I hope he jumps in and at least says hi. And if not, hello, James. Hello, Danielle. We miss you guys, and hope you at least catch the show. But yeah, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, and they are going to be playing all of us against each other, and so just prepare.
We also have that other neighbor over there by let's see, what is her name? Oh, China. Yeah. They're now building and have the largest navy that's ever been deployed within the waters off the coast of Taiwan, off the coast of Japan. They're having their bombers run practice sorties over our United States ships as we speak.
So what do you think they're going to do? What do you think's going to happen there, Rick?
I believe they want to escalate it to the point to where somebody, for lack of words, undisciplined finger hits a button and it starts right over there somehow. And they're going to unleash hell against South Korea. They're going to unleash hell against the Philippines. They're going to unleash hell against Taiwan. And we're going to be drug. And everybody, I hate to say it, but I see our South Korea, United States military getting their ass kicked.
What do you think
keep going the way they're going? And
what do you think is going to happen around with Japan? Because Japan right now, as well as you know, they've been buying up a lot of properties around here as far as business wise and what have you within the United States. Do you think they may be getting ready to turn on the United States, or do you think they're going to be an ally? What do you think is going to happen there?
I think Japan.
What do you think, Gordon?
You have to look at Japan's culture. Their cultural history is one of tradition, one of respect. And I think that I think Japan will be destroyed once again because I think it's going to be a battleground country. They are going to stick out with the U.S. as much as they can, but it is going to be leveled. Both sides are going to be fighting for a foothold there. We already have a firm foothold there, but they're going to try to scrape us from that foothold. That's why.
Now, Christopher John is going to turn on us, Gordon. He thinks Japan's going to turn on us.
I don't think so. We have too many assets there. If they were to turn on us and we're in the middle of a nuclear war, so to speak, we're going to make them an accidental first glass state, glass country. We'll just turn them into glass. We're not.
I hope you're right.
We're that bad boyfriend that says if we can't have it, nobody can, because that's the mentality of our government.
Unfortunately, with Joe Biden taking over the reins and guiding these horses, I think we were headed in for a really bad time if something doesn't change here very quickly. I think a lot of countries are going to be turning their backs on the United States, and I don't think we're going to have the allies that we thought we did. Not like when Trump was in office. We had a lot of allies with Trump in office, and he knew how to talk to people to get people on our side. And I think we're going to be left with our behinds hanging in the wind, if you follow me.
I agree totally. I really do. Speaking of our behinds hanging in the wind right now, gentlemen, as we speak, as we talk about what's going on in our illustrious United States on the southern border, I just got done talking this afternoon with one of the people that's associated with some of the border patrol down there. The crisis of the border itself has seen a 233% increase in fentanyl seizures and other type drugs on the border. And that's just the ones that
Well,
are
that's
catching.
because they've got so much of it coming through now. It's open. There's no way our border patrol can handle the influx of people that are coming in from Mexico. They might as well hold the doors open and pass out cash to each and every person that comes through, because that's basically what's happening, because it's tag and release. Have you seen what they do? They put people in, they basically
As
tag them,
of-
and then they spit them right on out. And they're going to be jumping these buses.
As of tomorrow, gentlemen, they are releasing 400 families and or migrants every day back into this society. They, like you said, they're going to walk in free. They're going to be held not accountable as U.S. citizens, but we're going to welcome them with all open arms. Is what the administration
You're already
says.
doing that, Rick. They're already doing that. See, the media is late in telling everybody this, but it ain't happening. These families, these people, they're being caught. They're being cut loose almost immediately. They might spend a few hours there, but that's why they come across and they turn themselves right over to the Border Patrol, because they know once they're here, they're going to be released. And what do? They release them immediately. I want to take a quick moment to tell everybody, please share this podcast, this live Facebook stream on your page. Share it to as many groups and friends and family as you have. Let's get political analytical out to as many people and as many ears as possible. We need to get our voices heard, everybody. Speak your mind. Tell us what you think in the text over here in the chat. Please, we'll be happy to put it out here for everybody to see. But seriously, guys, this is getting bad, and it's worse than what the media is telling you, because by the time the media gets to you, that's old news. It's at least 2 or 3 weeks old. It's already been done. That got the
It's been scrubbed already.
I agree.
And the real number, is closer to what, Eddie, about $3,000.
Oh, more than that. More than that per day.
What I heard is about 3,000 a day.
That's being very, very, very conservative as far as what's coming across. That's not the true numbers, gentlemen. It's more than that.
Well,
we have record numbers of people being busted in Kansas on I-35. They're being busted with loads and loads of marijuana. They're being busted with loads of heroin. They're being busted with loads of fentanyl. They're being busted with loads of whatever, cocaine, whatever they want to bring across. And that's just the ones that they're catching, gentlemen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What else have you heard on the radar, Gordon?
Well, the biggest thing is we've seen about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, we saw and heard that new legislation was coming out for gun control. And we've been preaching about our Second Amendment on here. And part of the leftist activity to push their agenda on gun control is now all of a sudden within the last 2 weeks, we have more active shooters than we've had in the last 5 years. There have been 5 different, that I know of, active shooter reports in the last 2 weeks, from Colorado to employees at FedEx to a guy I think it was in a mall. And it is going to move the people for firmer gun control, but they're doing it the wrong way. The attack on our Second Amendment, I genuinely believe that by the time this year is out, you're going to see our federal government say that unless you are a police officer, or unless you are an active member of the military, you are no longer allowed to own a gun. And the White House staff that did the press conference basically said that they are going to do a confiscation. They're not going to do a buyback. They're going to go for a confiscation. So, where does that leave us?
Wow. That leads us, gentlemen, I believe, right in the midst
But how
of a
can
civil
we have
war.
how
Because
can we have a civil war if we are caught up in a war and with China and Russia?
that was their main intent all along, was to divide. and
That's what
conquer.
I'm getting at, people. One, we cannot do anything about. We cannot help what this administration and what this administrative staff that got voted in is doing with Ukraine, with China, with Russia. We cannot help that. There is nothing we can do with that. But we can keep them from taking our guns. People in our local sheriff's departments, and
Exactly.
there's a reason why I'm bringing this up. Everyone needs to contact their local sheriff's department and have a conversation. See if you can set up a town hall meeting with all and televise and advertise the hell out of it and get an answer from your local sheriff's department as to whether or not what their stance is on the Second Amendment. Because if you lose your sheriff, you've lost your rights. Our sheriff's department holds the majority of the power in our counties. Correct, Eddie?
That's correct.
Those of you who don't know, Eddie does work for a sheriff's department here in the state of Texas. We all know where Eddie's boss stands on gun control. It's the same way the sheriff in my county stands on gun control. I will be more than happy to give you not my gun, but what comes out of the business end of my gun right before I stick it up your ass. That's their standpoint. But if we don't know, if you don't know where your sheriff stands on this issue, you need to find out, because that is going to be the truest sense of how much trouble you're going to have in your counties. Rick?
I see in our very near future, gentlemen, drawn. It's already been drawn. It's already divided, uncle against uncle, brother against brother, family against family, race against race. People in general, human beings that normally are very subtle, are getting very angry. We're seeing a lot of different anger being toward everybody. For what? Because that's what they want. That's what they desire. If we have a nation divided amongst itself, it has no chance to stand. It's been proven time and time again, gentlemen, that if we are divided, we cannot stand together. And I'm very glad you mentioned that, Gordon, about what you just said about the Second Amendment. If they tear down the walls of our freedom and our society and take away the Constitution as it is, Mr. Biden said that the amendments in the Constitution were not absolute. Where the hell does he get off on telling me that the Constitution and all its amendments are not absolute?
The Constitution and the amendments are absolute. I don't care what he says. I don't care what anybody says. We take oaths to uphold the Constitution, to include the amendments. And we will give our life and our blood to defend those. Many of us were in the military. Many of us were not. But that makes no one any more patriotic than the other. Patriots are patriots, no matter whether you're in the military or not. And your ability to defend the Constitution and what it stands for is there within every American that grew up with those thoughts and those feelings and that emotion that's all wrapped up in being an American within your blood. Our family, our grandparents, our fathers, our, people on down the line that are blood relatives to us have fought and died in some war somewhere or have served country.
Yes, they have.
We as
Yes,
police
they have.
officers, sheriff's deputies, constables, game wardens, state troopers, military members, all take an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States. If you do not, and you fall into any of these categories, then you should not wear that badge. Period.
Exactly. Yes.
I
thank
want
you.
to
Thank you.
comment on Joe Biden's little mental brain fart about saying that the Constitution, no constitutional amendment is absolute, that the Constitution itself is not absolute. If the Constitution itself is not absolute, then what the hell did this country spend 200 years building its system of laws on? Something that's not concrete? How
Yep.
stupid do you have to be to
Yep.
say, hey, we're just going to toss that piece of paper out the window because it doesn't fit what we're doing right now. Maybe we'll revisit it at some other time. No, it's not how this works. Everybody who knows me and those who watch the show regularly know that I am not a Democrat. They also know that I am not a Republican. I am a conservative, but I am a constitutionalist. And there is a big difference between any of those and being a constitutionalist. You cannot say that those things are not absolute and sit in any governmental office of leadership where our laws are created because they're founded based off of those principles. A couple of months ago, I did a show strictly
You're
based
right.
off of the Constitution. Eddie, could you, when this show's over, can you repost that link for those who for my constitutional show?
Constitution?
Yes.
Yes.
Give that show a listen. If you have any question about what your rights are under the Constitution of the United States, listen to that show. It outlines pretty much everything.
Gordon, can I? There.
Come on.
Sad to say. And it hurts my feelings and it hurts my heart. And it should every one of the people that are listening right now and watching us. There are over 75 to 80%, maybe 90% of the people on this show right now, and within the United States and within the sound of my voice, who do not know your constitutional rights. Because why? Because they're not taught in the schools anymore. The Constitution isn't taught in the schools anymore. The Constitution is just a piece of paper that they slid to the side and said, oh, isn't that nice? We don't need it anymore. We don't need prayer. We don't need God. We don't need anything but what we are offering to people right now. And we are at a point, gentlemen, that we have to take a stand. There's no other alternative right now. We can talk all damn night if you want to about what they've done and what they've said and where they're going and everything, but it's right now. We need to take a stand.
Yes, we do. People in general know the Second Amendment deals with our guns. People generally know the First Amendment deals with the freedom of speech, but it also deals with the freedom of the press. Okay. And there are a lot of the major news networks who use that constitutional right to report only what they see fit and only what they want. There's a lot of news networks that I don't watch anymore. I don't watch CNN, the Communist News Network. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch CBS. I don't watch NBC, and I don't watch ABC. OAN, they're pretty good. Fox, depends on who's on there. They kind of went off the deep end, started fading left. Fox News is what I've gotten to know as the golf shot. They started fading left, and then they came back right there at the end. And they're still not in the middle. You know, we don't need news networks to report one viewpoint, because that prevents people from developing their own opinions. We need a news agency that reports just what happened. It's not, news reporting should never be about leading questions about how you feel about something. If you need to go talk to somebody about how you feel, there's psychiatrists that do that. Go talk to them and leave it off the airwaves. We need someone to come in and step in and say, this is what happened, this is how it happened, and this is a result of what happened. And that be it. Back to you, Bobby.
At one point in time, gentlemen, there used to be a profession, a very, very astute profession. There used to be a profession that sat there and told the truth and nothing but the truth, and was objective on the truth and how they presented it. But that profession now is no longer. It used to be called journalism, honest to God journalism. Walter Cronkite was the last of the true journalists, as far as I'm concerned. And we need more men like him who report exactly what.
You know, it's been
the
so
truth
long
is.
since I heard real journalism. You know, it's really crazy. There used to be a time when journalists took pride in reporting the news as accurately as possible. And if they messed up or said something wrong, they would go back and retract the story and give an apology. You don't get that anymore.
Publicly retract and apologize. I remember when I was about 14 years old, and believe me, that was a long ass time ago. Dan Rather came out and said, hey, I did a report on a show about this story the other night, and we left some facts out, and I apologize for that. Here are the rest of those facts. See, news used to be about, here's what's going on, develop your own opinion about them. Not anymore. Not in years. Not in years.
See, Darren's got it right. He hit the nail on the head. He says now they're just propagandists. And that's very true. That's all it is.
Yep.
There was a gentleman that at one point, and please tell me his name again because it's been a while since I heard about him, but he said on each broadcast, he said, now here's the rest.
God, who was
of
that?
The story.
That was Mr. Paul Harvey.
Paul
and
Harvey.
Here's
That's
the
it.
rest of the story.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank
right
you
now,
very
in
much. I
today's
appreciate that.
modern society, Paul Harvey wouldn't even he would be thrown in Facebook jail.
All right. Kimberly has written a slight novel on here. Let me read this out real quick. It says, how do you overthrow a destructive
Awesome.
federal government when they've made a law against just talking about overthrowing it? They've made the FBI and security agents so strong that unless millions of Americans are willing to stand up, it will be impossible. Where does our military stand fighting millions of Americans if this happens? The Capitol is safe. People don't know enough about history or the Constitution. Therefore, they can't imagine taking action to fix a nation and its government. If they knew history's importance, then Americans are sitting ducks until millions stand up and lynch people stand up and lynch people accountable, or the tyrants literally go around to confiscate guns. And either way, war will start. Wow. She hit the nail on the head on that one. Thank you, Kimberly, for that one. That's very true. Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, where does the military stand? Well, you got to remember who is in charge of our military right now. A libtard general. And the military is going to follow orders. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some that will stand up and say, you know what? We're not doing this to the American people. We took an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States when we joined the military. These orders are not lawful orders. And the military can do that. You should obey lawful orders, not unlawful orders telling you to disgrace or turn your backs on the very Constitution that you took an oath to defend with your own blood. So hopefully, and I say hopefully, our military men and women will be smart enough to know the difference and know that these are orders that they should not obey if they come to pass. To do away with anything dealing with our Constitution should be immediately thrown aside and shunned upon. Their commanding officer should immediately say, you know what, fellas, this is one order we're not going to follow because it violates the very oath that we took. It violates the oath to defend the Constitution of the United States. And we're not going to violate that order. We're not going to shed the blood of Americans and patriots that are standing to defend the Constitution of the United States so that we can stab them in the back with the very weapons that we use to defend them. We should not do that. And hopefully that will happen. But will it? I don't know, Kimberly. Honestly, I don't. I hope it does. I know many sheriff's departments and police departments that will not uphold any of these unlawful laws or orders. So let's hope the military will follow suit. Rick?
Well, I was listening to you, Eddie, back years ago when there was a place called Kent State. It hasn't been too far back that there was a place called Ruby Ridge. And it hasn't been too far back in the distance where there was a place called Waco. And those are examples of government interference. These are examples of military turning their guns on the citizens of the United States. We were supposed to learn something about that, gentlemen. We were supposed to not do that again. We were supposed to take caution when dealing with the citizens of the United States. We were supposed to uphold the very heart of America by upholding the citizens thereof. I hope, just like you're talking about, Eddie and Gordon, gentlemen, that we have that ability, not only through our sheriffs and our police force, but our U.S. military to sit there and look and learn of what happens to a nation when they turn their guns one against
And here's
each
one
other.
thing that may be coming our way. Darren Wedlock says, just a heads up, guys, here in New Zealand, our leftist government are bringing in the hate speech laws. If we offend someone, even based on politics. We can get up to 3 years in prison. Soon it will be exported to the USA, I bet. I believe it will. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I could say, oh, you're wrong. You're wrong, Darren, because this is the United States. We don't stand for that bullshit. But you know what? In today's society, I can't argue. I can't argue with you. I really can't. Gordon?
Here's
Yep.
here's
I had
my
to
whole
think
deal.
about that. Go ahead, Gordon.
Let's take the military out of the equation. Everybody who is in the military, let's put them overseas, dealing with the Ukraine and dealing with China and dealing with Russia. So if you've got a military uniform on, you're overseas. Nurses, doctors, dentists, soldiers, everybody, you're overseas. Okay. We still have, as the American population, a standing army. Who are they, Rick?
Yes, we do.
Right.
American people.
But of those
Behind every
American
blade
people,
of grass.
you're going to have a division. You're going to have a division between those who back the current regime, is all I can, the current government, and you're going to have those who oppose it. You're going to have those who oppose it.
That's the exact word.
Our standing army is going to come from every single person who has ever gotten a deer hunting license. 11.5 million hunters in the U.S. We own the guns. Now, if we own the guns, and we will sit, and I'm going to use a James Toop and a Rick Warren analogy here. Hunters have been known to sit in a tree or in a blind for 15 hours to make one shot. Do you really think homeboy from the hood with his 9mm turned sideways has a prayer with 11.5 million of us? Not a chance. And you've got their spokeswoman, the person that they put up there on a pedestal, that ugly constipated chick named Greta, who thinks that, you know, their generation is going to create a revolution. Sister, your generation can't even decide how many people they're male or female. So if you want to go this route, because this is the route that your government is pushing towards, let's dance.
Non-official armed force in the world. Why do you think nobody has invaded us? Knock on wood. And I want to put a plug in here, gentlemen, for the American veteran. The men that I know in this town where I live, there are many men and women who are veterans who will not take this setting down. I know them personally. I know that they are well armed, and I know that they still believe, because that oath they took, Eddie, like you were talking about, it doesn't end when they get out of the military. It doesn't end when they sit there and take the uniform off. It's in their heart. And they uphold that oath all their life.
Like I said before, Rick, if you wear a badge or if you're in our military, you've taken that oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. If you fail to do so, if you are anti-American, if you are anti-Constitution, you need to remove yourself from whatever profession it is that you're in if you took that oath. If you're a law enforcement officer, I don't care what law enforcement officer you are, whether you're PD, state, county, whatever the case might be, You need to take yourself out. Take yourself out of that law enforcement. Put the badge away because you're not upholding it. You do not deserve to wear that badge. If you are in the military and join the military to uphold the Constitution and to protect the way of life of the United States American people, you need to remove yourself somehow or go up and tell your superior that you cannot uphold the Constitution of the United States because you're an idiot. You need to go flat up to them and tell them right out that you can't do it, because that is the whole reason for the United States. That's why we are the United States of America. That's why we are the greatest country in the world. That's why we should defend everything about our Constitution, because we are the greatest country and we need to uphold that. Because with what we have in office right now, gentlemen, we are the laughing stock of the entire world. We have idiots running the United States of America that have no clue what they're doing. They have no
we do.
No pride in our American heritage. They have no honor. They have nothing. And yet they're running the United States. We've got people starting fires, arson, thefts, burglaries, assaults, murders taking place within our streets. But that's okay, because these are on the far left. They're idiots. And and the first time an American, a patriot, steps out to defend something, oh, you guys are a bunch of freaking killers and this, that, and the other. No, we're just protecting what we got. And we're not going to
housekeeping. I want to do a little housekeeping here, Eddie.
Do it.
Mr. Tomas Gonzalez. Haven't seen or heard from you in this group. You are more than welcome to watch our shows and make comments. We welcome it. But don't post a link in our chat room for our people to click on selling bullshit. That's not what this forum is for. So please don't do that shit again.
Well, if he does, we'll ban him. That's your only one warning. That's it.
Nobody gives a shit if you can make $275.75 a day from your home. I don't give a shit. That's not what this forum is about. This forum is about people who speak their mind, who care about this country, who want to see this country going in the right direction, not your bullshit website.
Thank you, Gordon. I appreciate that very much. And we are going to be going up against a lot of people who think that this administration is the most admirable thing that ever come along. I'm sorry to say, but that's not my belief. That's not my stand. Because I remember and I know an America, a strong America that stood for every American citizen. And the American citizen obeyed all the laws of the country, all the laws of the land. And we helped each other. And we loved each other, actually. Boy, isn't that a unique word to put out today? Love. And another thing that they did too, they loved, and we love our country.
Yes, we do. And I do love my country. And I love my country not because I'm in the middle of my years here in this country, but I love this country because of the opportunities that it can present for my kids, for my grandkids.
Yep.
But when I have a government who is systematically taking away the freedoms that I grew up with, the abilities to say whatever I want, regardless of what it does to your feelings, or they say what I can and can't own, or what I must or I cannot buy? What does that say for the future generations of our kids? They're living this now. And if the parents don't stand up and protect the kids from what's going on in our country, how are they going to learn what's wrong with our country when it's being done to their kids?
Rick, what's your thoughts?
As of this night, as of this week, everything that I've seen, everything that I've heard, we're in one hell of a state right now. I'm not just talking about China. I'm not just talking about Korea. I'm not talking about overseas, gentlemen. I'm talking about this, our United States of America. We are in one hell of a state. And right now, we need a unity between the true patriots of what Eddie and Gordon just talked about. We need that unity to be brought forth with and for each other as I speak. You need to get pissed off about what's going on, is what I'm trying to say. Because if you don't, you might as well get on your knees and put the chains on and carry on with your life the way you see it. Because that's exactly what they want to do.
Oh, absolutely. And they're going to do everything they can to sit there and destroy the United States of America.
Yeah, they are. And it's frightening and it's sad. It really is. It's frightening and it's sad to the point to where, again, I've said it before, and I just don't know where that straw is going to come from. But it's going to come.
Also, real quick, in military news, the resurrected First Fleet is the weapon the Navy needs to counter China, former Secretary of the Navy says. This is Military News Daily, folks. It seems like they're actually building up for battle. Yeah, I mean, it's getting crazy. And then you've got black soldier mistreatment common even before Virginia case. So they're ramping up all this stuff in the military. And that's another crazy thing. The military is falling way left. I don't understand. I don't get what's going on here. U.S. likely to up Afghanistan force to ensure safe drawdown. I mean, it's just all kinds of stuff here. I mean, this is just insane. I mean, World War II and Korean War veteran gets escorted home in a 3-day funeral procession. That one right there that's pretty awesome. Let's see here. Inside an Army's unit, conversation about extremism in uniform. For military kids, reading can inspire resiliency. I mean, if you go to military.com, you can get all this news on the latest and what's happening in the military, and it's amazing. I know that question was asked earlier what our military was thinking. This is a good way to get information on all that. And Darren says, yep, that's right, Rick. Comes down to what Gordon said. An average American that stands for the Constitution is the only thing standing in the way of its downfall.
Yep, he's right. I agree.
But yeah, military.com, you can get all the latest in military news. See what the military's thinking. Check this stuff out. I mean, some of it is like reading, crap off CNN. Others, gives you hope, but not very much. I mean, it's unbelievable. U.S. slapped sanctions on Russia over election meddling. And you're going to see a lot of stuff on here where, the military is just going way far left, and it's crazy.
And again, that goes back to the final straw. No, the military is not any different than the general population. There's both sides of the fence in our military. And it makes me sad to know that where this is all coming to. The current administration has done an outstanding job of tearing this country into pieces.
Yep. And they're not done yet. But with that in mind, fellas, we're getting close to the end of the hour. Let's go ahead and start off with our final thoughts. Rick, we'll start off with you, and then Gordon.
Contact me. And he said, Rick, you're getting a little passionate about what you're talking about on air. I've never seen you like this. I've never seen you this upset. I've never seen you talking like you're talking. And I have to agree with him. I am getting passionate. I am getting pissed. I am standing up for what I believe in. And I need you, every one of you that's within the sound of my voice, to start doing the same thing. What is going on in this United States of America right now should piss you off to the point to where you want change. And the only way you can and will get change is if you yourself get off your ass and do something about it with us. We need you. The United States needs you. The patriot movement needs people to get off their asses and do something about what's going on with the United States of America. And I issue no apology for
Rick.
what I just said.
Gordon?
And I agree with you, Rick, 110%. The biggest thing that I want everybody to take out of this show tonight is something that my old football coach used to tell me is know yourself. Know who you are. Know that where you stand on everything. Know who you can count on. If you don't know who you can count on, you need to have, like I said earlier, you need to get a town hall put together with your sheriff. You need to set up a grassroots movement in your community, because change occurs like dominoes. Push the liberals by voting them out of your current office, even if it's just the mayor. Mayor answers to the governor. Governor answers, and so on and so forth. But your local governments, find out where they stand. Find out if your sheriff's department is going to come knock on your door and say, we're here with a gun confiscation law. We need to search your home. Know yourself. Where will you stand on that side of the line? Which side of the line that Rick talked about earlier are you on? I know what side I'm on. I know what side Rick's on. I know what side Eddie's on. So ask yourself, which side are you on?
Very awesome. Ask yourself that, and that way you know exactly where you stand. I'm going to leave everybody with a final thought. Know the Constitution. Know what it says. Know what it means. Listen to Gordon's show. I posted it up on the comments, and I also posted it in the on a political analytical. Know the Constitution. Know what you're fighting. Know what you're defending against. They're picking away at it little by little. They're not going to pull it out from under us all at once because they know we'll see it. But little by little, they're tearing away at it. Little by little, they're going to take it from us if we let them. The trick is not to let them. Stand up and fight for every little bit that they try and take. They've got people in this country so brainwashed that Texas has lifted the mask mandate. Yet, no matter what store you go into, you still see people running around with face masks because they've got people so scared out of their brains. They think a piece of cotton cloth is going to protect them from the supposed deadliest virus on the world. You know, this virus escaped a level 4 lab. Okay. If it's so deadly, you know, you'd have thought they'd have kept better reins on it. Number one. Number two, if it's that deadly, you honestly think a mask is going to help. It's not. It causes more problems than anything else. Mask mandate was lifted for a reason, folks. Okay. I'm not going to tell you to wear one. I'm not going to tell you not to wear one. The decision is yours because you're an American. You have that right to make that decision. But the point is, the government has people so scared they're doing things they normally wouldn't. They play upon your fear. They play upon people that they want to make you believe are racist. They play on religion. They play on a lot of different things to instill that fear, that propaganda, in order to make you do things you normally wouldn't. Don't fall for it. This is the United States. You are free to make up your own minds. Don't think just because they tell you that's the God honest truth, because I guarantee you right now they're lying to everybody. So with that in mind,
Yes, they are.
please share our show. Please share our podcast. Get it out to as many ears as you possibly can. I can't ask you to do this enough to please share our shows, share our podcast. Get us out there amongst all the listeners. We need to make this podcast, this show grow. And for whatever reason, if we get torn off of YouTube or we get torn off of Facebook, we're still going to be putting out the podcast. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us on anchor.com, or I'm sorry, anchor.fm. So go to anchor.fm or Spotify and you'll find Political Analytical. You can go to Apple Podcasts. We're on there as well. But don't lose touch with us, whether you see us on here or not. If you don't see us on here and it's weeks at a time, something happened. But we're still going to be doing the podcast, so look for us. Please share it. Get it out there with everybody. And with that, I want to tell everybody good night. We love you guys. Keep America safe. Keep America strong. Remember, we are the front line fighting for the United States and for the Constitution. We are all together. Let our voices be heard. We love you guys. Have a good night.
See you guys later.
Good night, gentlemen. Thank you.